Hi everyone, Tyler Manion here, NPC and IFBB Pro League Vice President, and this will be your Arnold Classic Physique Recap, brought to you by New Tech. So in first place, we had Mike. I think Mike brought a very, very impressive package. I think he even improved a little bit more from what we saw at this past year's Olympia. You see he has a very, very dramatic V-taper into a nice, tight, and small waist, and his legs, his quads from the front are just massively impressive. Very separated, very big, balances very well with his dramatic taper in his upper body. His front double bicep is very, very strong. Really, for Mike, I would say every pose is extremely strong right now. His side chest, it keeps improving. His back double bicep is one of the best in Classic right now. His lower body, I felt like from the Olympia till now, you could see he had more of that width and size to his legs in the back that balanced out his back double bicep much more than the Olympia. I think this was probably his biggest improvement from the Olympia until now. Ab and thigh, again, very, very strong, whether he does the vacuum or is crunched down and the abs are flexed. Very detailed, very deep. Favorite Classic pose, I would say for Mike, he either needs to stick with his old school variation of the front double bicep or his front lat spread, which is extremely strong now as well because he improved the thickness to his chest. For Mike, I would say he can still focus on adding a little bit more volume to his triceps and a little bit more thickness to his chest. I would say those are the main two things he can continue to work on. In second place, we had Logan. This was the all-time best showing for Logan by far that I've ever seen from him. His conditioning was absolutely gnarly. I mean, probably some of the best conditioning that I can remember seeing on someone at a show. So extremely impressive. The details, everything was there. Logan has a great physique, very balanced upper body and lower body. I felt like he did put on some more muscle than he previously has had. Obviously, the details were brought to life because of the conditioning. I would still say, though, that you see the difference between Logan and Mike is just the overall volume and overall size that Mike has compared to Logan. And while Logan made a big jump because the three guys that were right behind him placed a good bit higher than him at the Olympia, he was able to overtake them and obviously put on enough muscle that he was able to do that. But the next step up with the guys that were in the top 5 at the Olympia is just adding more overall volume to the physique. So he can really add it everywhere. I feel like the main focus obviously should still be to bring the chest up some more. He definitely needs more thickness to the chest. And then the next thing would be adding more width and thickness to his back. Those are definitely the main two things he needs to work on. But as he's working on those, he needs to add volume as a whole so his whole entire physique stays balanced. But every pose was dramatically improved on him. I feel like his side chest, he improved his legs, his hamstrings a lot from what they used to be. His chest thickness definitely was improved, even though he still needs to work on it. His back double was definitely improved. Ab and thigh was a great pose. For Logan, his favorite Classic pose, I actually think what suits him the best is his side tricep variation that he hit during prejudging. I think it's a very, very strong pose for him. I know he likes to do variations of the twisting back double. He did it to both sides at the show. Actually, because he was doing this, I feel like Mike also was hitting the twisting back double. They did it a lot of times, during comparisons together. And for both of them, I think, while they both look good in the pose, it just is not the strongest pose for them during comparison. So if I was him, the side tricep variation is a very, very good pose for him that can be used as a favorite Classic pose. If he doesn't like that, maybe he can look at some other different poses as well. But I would get away from the twisting back double because I think it just exposes too many flaws instead of really highlighting his strengths. But overall, can't say enough about what an impressive performance it was from him, especially with the conditioning and his physique just completely brought to life. So congrats to him. Very, very surprising, but very, very exciting showing. In third place, we had Matt. Matt looked great. I feel like Matt improved from the Olympia as well. From the front, he displays a great physique. His front double bicep, very, very impressive. His arms have improved. He has great taper, nice thickness through the chest, nice small waist. His legs from the front are very detailed and separated. He also has really, really good quads as well. His side chest also improved. Back double bicep, while improved, this is definitely his number one area, the whole entire posterior chain. Hamstrings can be better. Back can be better, and that will really strengthen his overall comparisons, especially with the top guys. The back double bicep's still a little bit lagging because he's very strong in the other poses, but I feel like for him, when this gets improved, that's going to make him make a massive, massive leap. So he's already on the way to improving it. I'm looking forward to seeing what he keeps doing with that. Ab and thighs, again, a very, very strong pose for him, and also has a good favorite classic pose as well. I feel like his conditioning was very good, but just a step behind Logan and Mike. So while very good conditioning, not like he missed the mark at all, very, very impressive, honestly. It just was a step below Logan and Mike, and you can kind of see the difference whenever everybody's next to each other. But again, you really notice it more when he's doing his back double bicep, and I think that's just because the muscle and the maturity isn't quite there the way it is everywhere else in his physique, so he doesn't get the lines as deep and the separation as deep yet. So a lot to build off for him, and he's just been on a very, very upward trajectory over the last 2 years. So excited to see what he brings going forward as well. In fourth was Michael. Michael honestly brought a great package to the show. These top 4 guys, they all looked very, very good. Mike was in great condition. I just feel like for him, his structure got a little bit exposed next to the 3 guys that were ahead of him. His waist is just a little bit wider than theirs, and he doesn't quite have the width that any of the 3 in front of him have. So the number one thing he needs to work on is adding more width, to his back. That's going to change the way his physique looks. You can see when he hits his front double bicep, he's just a little more flat and shallow throughout the chest and his torso. And I think that holds him back a little bit in this pose as well. So he needs to really work on that chest thickness. That will help his front double. That will help his ab and thigh. That will help his side chest. I think Michael has done a good job of bringing up his legs, though. I felt like his legs overall were much improved from last year. His conditioning was very good. His back double bicep, though, I feel like in the back double itself, he was just a little bit flat. His back didn't quite pop as much as I've seen it pop in the past. So he adds a little bit more width and gets a little bit more of that pop back to his back. That pose becomes a big, big strength for him, especially with the upgrades that he's made to his legs. So overall for him, I just think he needs to keep improving if he can make these small adjustments. He's literally right there with these guys. I felt like, with him and Matt, it was very close. Then finally, in fifth, we had Wesley. And for Wesley, I just feel like this just wasn't his weekend. I feel like he was just off from what we normally see from him. I have a feeling it's more of an anomaly than anything else. He could have had something going on, whether it being sick or whatever else. But the size of the legs definitely just wasn't there. Even his upper body, last year when he won the Arnold, he had that 3D look, the thickness and the detail and the separation to his back and the back double. And that just was very, very flat, as well here. So he was just really flat, a little bit downsized. And I just think it was just an off weekend for him, but at his best, he can get right back in there with these guys. So overall, again, super exciting show and just sets the tone for a great 2025 season. Next up, we're going to go into men's physique. In first place, we had Ali. Ali brought a very, very impressive look to the stage this past weekend. I think he improved a lot from the Olympia. He made improvements to his back and he made improvements to his chest. I still feel like he can add just a little more thickness to his upper chest and he can continue improving his back, but the improvements were very, very noticeable. Overall, very balanced, exactly the right size. Literally what we want to see in men's physique. Again, you see he has the lower body development that he needs to have to make sure his upper and lower body are balanced. The conditioning was crazy. He has some of the best abs and just the best details that can come out of a midsection that you can have. On stage next to some elite competitors here this weekend, he walked out and it was a physique that made everybody say, wow. So very impressive look with a combination of fullness and conditioning. He needs to just do what he's done from the Olympia until now and keep doing it throughout the year to this year's Olympia to really bring the heat. In second place was Aaron, and then third was Diogo. So at prejudging, I felt like Aaron was just holding a little bit of water to his physique, especially compared to Ali, Diogo, and Emanuel in the first call out. But physique-wise and body-wise, I feel like Aaron improved a ton from last year to this year. Chest was fuller. The abs were in better. The taper looked good in the front pose. His back came back to, an extremely strong pose for him. His back, I felt was declining over the last year. It really looked like almost how it did during his 2022 season finally. So Aaron looked good during prejudging. The conditioning wasn't the same as the other three. Diogo looked very, very good at prejudging. He was very crisp. It's probably the best his back has looked, I would say, was during prejudging that I can remember seeing. His midsection was good. It was tight. It was in. The abs were separated. Could still be a little bit better, but it was still good. Then for the finals between these two, I feel like it changed a lot. Aaron tightened up a lot, and Diogo, I felt like, flattened out a lot. His back didn't look nearly as good. He was having trouble controlling his abs, and his midsection was a little bit distended at the finals. So again, this is why we have two different rounds. We have prejudging, and then finals for, every division outside bodybuilding is the confirmation round. If you're not bringing it during finals, or if you bring it a lot, you can move places. So that's what we're looking at. That's exactly what happened. Diogo was in second at prejudging. The places flipped because of the finals looked. Aaron looked much, much better, much more detailed at finals. That look going forward is going to be very, very tough to beat as long as he brings it throughout the whole entire day of competition. In fourth place, we had Emanuel. This was a huge improvement for him. I don't remember ever seeing him look this good or this conditioned. For him, the main feedback is he needs to bring his overall back up. He needs more thickness and he needs more width to the back. He can also pose his back better. He doesn't really keep his chest up and I think open up all the way like he needs to. His front pose is definitely greatly improved. I still think it can flow just a little bit better. But again, all four guys, I feel like, represented men's physique very well with their overall size and overall balance with their shoulders and arms, with their torso, and then also having some lower body development to balance out their upper body. So great conditioning and great overall looks from the top four.